is a lonely place. You have to embrace the loneliness of being on the right path.
I remember saying to myself, saying out loud with my friends, saying, I want what I want. You know?
The need to do everything is actually rooted in pride. Holy Spirit revealed that to me.
I think I said no. I was surprised. I was like, what? They're not saying no to people from Lagos, you know?
Position yourself as someone working with God to work this marriage. The same way I enabled you, I can enable anybody. You're not doing anything special. Having a close walk with God, an understanding of how God speaks to you, an understanding of how God works with you before you get married.
So I'm not too sure how to introduce you, Lexi. I'm going to be calling you Lexi or Alexia, but Alexia owns a makeup brand in Nigeria. And talk about owning a makeup brand in Nigeria, where doing business sometimes can be tough. But can you share, how did you get to that point where you moved from, I know you were a makeup artist and then moved to producing your own makeup brand?
I'm still a makeup artist.
Okay, you do a bit of it. Yeah, actually you do.
So I think it was in 2018. I started feeling restless, and I just started thinking, "Oh, what else is out there? You know, aside from being a makeup artist, which I love. You know, but I was like, what else? What other possibilities are open to me?" And then I thought, oh, I could go into retail. I could have my own brand of products, and I wanted to do eyelashes. You know, I spent a few months in 2018 trying to pursue that, but I realized I didn't love it. It was great. I'm sure it's great for business. I will do lashes at some point, but it wasn't keeping me up at night. You know, I was just like, okay, that's not it. You know, 2019, I think it was in January, maybe first or second week. And I remember where I was. I was sitting down at the dining table in my parents' house, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to do this year. I'm going to have my own makeup brand." There was no supporting evidence, you know, for such a proclamation. But I remember saying it, you know. About a few days later, I was sitting with a few friends of mine. We were talking about our plans for the year, and here I was again saying, "Oh, I'm going to launch my makeup brand this year." And of course, as human as we are, everybody was chiming in as to, "Oh, do it this way, do it that way." But I was really clear as to where I wanted to manufacture, what I wanted the products to look like, all of that. And everyone took a deep sigh, including myself. And I was like, okay, you know, like, let's see how this is going to happen. At no point in time was I well prepared to launch that business. I wasn't. I just thought it was something I wanted to do. In fact, I remember saying to myself, saying out loud with my friends, saying, I want what I want, you know. And I remember another friend of mine saying, I want what I want. I know it just became something that I said to myself, like I gave myself permission to go after what I genuinely and truly wanted. Like, regardless of what other options were available, I think I got to that moment where I wasn't going to desire less because of anything. I was just going to go after what it was that I truly wanted, you know. And I started to write to manufacturers, you know, like, okay, my name is Alexia. I live in Lagos. I'd like to do this. I'm looking for partners who can produce this, that, and the other. And I think I said no. I was surprised. I was like, what? They're not saying no to people from Lagos, you know? And then instead, you know, having conversations, speaking with a couple of partners, prospective partners now, okay, who had all the things that I wanted, who could manufacture according to certain quality, according to certain style. Then I then started to receive samples. So I just had months where I was testing, you know, product. I remember waking up one day and saying, "Oh, I think I need $10,000," you know, and you know, I was freaking out, you know, like I'm like, I have no idea
Where it was going to come from.
where it was going to come from. Actually, no, I think I said I wanted $5,000. And the friend of mine said, no, you need more than that. You need about $10,000. I was like, okay. Anyway, cut long story short, um, 7 months later in August, we launched.
Wow.
Yeah, like 7 months, everything came together. A lot of people think that when you hit a milestone, like you're on top of the world,
You can rest.
everything. I was exhausted. I didn't realize how much energy it had taken me to sustain
Mm.
whatever that was, from ideation
To
to
execution.
execution. You know, I spent the first, I think we launched in August, and I spent the next 3 to 4 weeks tired, you know, crying so much. Crying
Because
so
the
much.
energy to
Yeah.
birth.
Yeah, I was so tired, you know. And I think I was expecting that I would be exhausted. I wasn't, you know, like I just needed to sit down quietly for a while to say, this is what what I've done, this is where I am now, and what am I going to do next? I realized that I had tunnel vision, and all I was looking at the time was, how do I bring this thing to life? And then now that it was live, I needed to sit down and think, okay, how do we keep it going? You know, so yeah, that's in summary how we
Wow.
launched. Yeah.
Okay. So, let's talk about the power of vision and conviction,
Mm,
because those are two things that I, we struggle with. Having a vision, a clear vision, because you talk about the clarity of vision that you had, and
mm,
because you had a clear idea of where you were headed, despite the fact that you had different individuals, putting in a word here and there, you still were able to maintain that clarity and to work through the process of being committed to the vision.
mm.
So what are some of the values or the ideologies that you held dear in order to work from ideation
Mhm.
to execution?
Mm. So honestly, I struggle with I struggle with answering questions like this because we all think differently. We
Mm-hmm.
process information differently. I found a journal I'd had, I think in 2016, where where I was journaling
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted. And I remember writing, I wanted makeup that was kind to skin, makeup that did no harm. Did I have any in 2016? Did I have any product in front of me that did that? No, I did not. But I had been a makeup artist for a while, and I kept on hearing people say, "Oh, I don't like wearing makeup because it gives me a rash. I don't like wearing makeup because I break out." And I thought, the same way we some people say things like, "Oh, I don't eat this sort of food because I react in this way." Same way we care enough. If, for instance, you react to shellfish, nobody keeps on eating shellfish. Do you get, that
Yeah.
if you react to nuts, nobody keeps on eating nuts. Well, not nobody, but if you
Yeah.
have that, so
Yeah.
like, even if you bought a bar of chocolate, there'll be a note there saying, please know that this was created in a factory that also had that also produces nuts, and just so that I was like, how come beauty products didn't have that? That's
Mm-hmm.
one. And how come generally, like, we didn't have products that were created to just care for your skin, that wasn't just about beauty in this
Mm.
moment, but after you take it off, what then? Those were the questions I had in my heart, and I was writing everything down. I didn't see that journal till after we had launched in 2019.
Wow.
It just meant that that was such a desire that I'd carried in my heart. I wanted to solve that problem,
Problem.
you know. Also, I feel like I didn't pursue clarity. I just pursued expanding the ideas that I had. If I had done the very first thing that I wanted, I would have been doing lashes. We won't be talking about
Yeah.
about makeup that is
Yeah.
kind to skin, you know. So I'm not going to give you one story about how I had it all clear. No, I did not. I just had this desire. I had
Mm.
this idea, this dream that stayed with me. Every time in fact, fun fact, the manufacturer that I eventually went with, I had I had stumbled upon them in 2016,
Wow.
but I looked at them and I was like, oh, they're in New York. Oh, that might be far. Or that might, I told myself stories why they were in no,
Mm.
So I'm not, again, I don't know whether I should cut this part out.
No, but
I
I think
really dislike when people make it seem, not dislike, but I find that things are not always A to B to C. Do you get? I feel like things are there are more nuances, there are more winding paths than just
yeah,
clear, straight paths.
yeah,
I remember looking at them in 2016 and feeling like, oh, they were such a big company, they were such an expensive company. Maybe I should find a smaller company, and I wasn't ready in 2016. In 2016, they didn't say no to me. I said no to myself on their behalf.
Oh, that's
Do you
good. That's
you know what I
good.
mean? I said no to
Yeah.
them, and I packed it. And 2017, I don't know what I was dreaming of in 2017. 2018, I just started feeling restless. 2019, it came back to what did I really want, and then I didn't remember my journals. I didn't remember those manufacturers. I just started researching in line with what do I want. And to be honest, between 2019 and now, there are other things that I've said no to. I've
Yeah.
said no on someone else's behalf to myself. And I remember thinking about it again, and I was like, what do I want? What do I really want? Um, what's what is important enough to me to go after?
Mm.
Yeah. So have I answered the
Wow.
question? Did
You
I
have
answer
answered.
it?
You have.
Okay.
You have. And I think we should talk about how sometimes our mindset can prevent us from reaching for what we want or what God wants for us. Because sometimes we can talk ourselves out of a vision that God has placed within us because we might feel like we don't have the capacity to go after it, or we don't have the qualifications, as it were. So how can we overcome those limiting mindsets that can prevent us from reaching for the life that God has for us?
I think honest conversations with ourselves, honest and crucial conversations. Sometimes we're looking for external validation, waiting for people outside to tell us that we can do it, or that we are right, or that we're on the right path. But we won't always have that. And not because we don't have a great support system, but sometimes what we're saying may not even make sense to the other person. To be honest, I think I spent 2019 to 2021 trying to follow the rules, trying to follow, okay, what if you own a beauty brand, what does that look like? How have people done it?
Yeah.
And just
Trying to keep up
and
with.
I was struggling at failing, like I remember clearly someone telling me that, and this makes me laugh. So, like, I remember being in meetings trying to set up my own team, for instance. Okay, but I need marketing. I need help with market. I need help with sales. I need help with admin. They're just me identifying all things I
Yeah.
needed help with, and then reaching out to, oh, okay, like trying to hire for
Yeah.
those roles. And I remember I'll be listening to someone trying to sell me something in terms of maybe like a strategy, and it won't resonate with me. This was me then saying to myself, oh, but he's the expert. So maybe he knows what he's talking about. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm all for trying things out. As we progress along that path, I'm like, this is not what I want. This is not the message that I'm trying to communicate. This isn't a good fit with my brand. It doesn't match what I'm seeing inside. But I then also thought that, but I don't know as much about marketing, as this person. So maybe he knows something that I don't know. And in the first year of business, I saw how I felt like I those lessons were an MBA. You know, I felt like I spent a lot of money
Yeah.
in the school of hard knocks. I spent lot of money
Yeah.
learning how to trust my own instincts, even if I didn't know, even if I didn't have the knowledge. Do you get? Even
Yeah.
though I didn't have the expertise in code, so
Yeah.
even though I didn't have, and I also learned that what I don't know is temporary. I can fill in the gap. I can read. I can take courses. I can ask those questions. So yeah, but that was an expensive 2 years, of making a lot of mistakes and realizing that, oh my goodness, yeah, people, and maybe a part of me really felt like honestly, there were times that I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. There were times that I felt like, wow, like you really took this on, and you have to work across different parts of the business. It's not just makeup.
Yeah. There's
We have
operations, there's
distribution, we
distribution,
have this,
yes,
we have
there's
that.
communications.
And I was like, you know, but I realized that sometimes you need. So for instance, I remember doing my very first pitch deck, and I wasn't making a presentation to anyone. I was just doing it for myself. I just realized that I needed to be able to see my entire business from one end to the other in a document. And I just I don't know, it was just me. I was shaking so much. I must have worked on that thing for like 3 months. Who works on the pitch deck for 3 months? But I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, that just in case anybody just ask me, how people also like say all those interesting things like, you have to be prepared to give an elevator pitch. I'm like, okay. But just like putting myself under so much pressure, very first one, and I looked at it and I then said, okay, great, we've done it. So now let's look at pitch decks for other companies across the world. Let's see what it looks like, how what they focused on, and everything. And I remember listening to Paul Graham. I think he's one of the founders of Y Combinator. And it's something he said. He said, you don't need all of the information all of the time. If you need to learn about something, learn it. And once you're done with that need, like, so for instance, if I wanted to file for taxes for the first time, at at all of my life, I haven't needed tax information, but I want to file for taxes now. So I can spend as much time learning about tax, so I even understand the process and know what we're supposed to be filing. And once we file taxes, I don't have to be carrying tax information in my head till next year when it's time to file again. You get? So, so that was one really important lesson that I've taken with me, that at any point in time, I need to learn about it. And once I'm done with that phase, then I can move on to something else, rather than feeling like I don't know it. I don't know it at the moment. Great. But can I learn it? Yes. And so I don't feel like I need to become an expert in anything. I don't feel like I need to always have all the information, always have all of the knowledge, or always have 99% skill in every area. But at whatever point that we are dealing with a specific thing, then I would learn about it and I'll keep on moving. So I guess
yeah. So that's you talk about learning, not limiting yourself based on the current knowledge that you have, and being willing to close the gap, right? Which it could be by reading, taking courses, but just continually applying yourself so that you can become the person for the vision. Because I know sometimes God gives us visions that are bigger that are bigger than us, but we have to grow to the point where we become the people who can carry the vision and implement the vision.